One thing that's confused me about Lord of the Rings, how did they think Wormtongue was a good guy? His name is Wormtongue. Like, that's not good. And he looks super creepy, like just slinking around and whispering in people's ears. Like, that's just a recipe for you should not trust this dude. Hi, I'm Mike Antonacci, and I'm here to help you become the hero God is calling you to be. And today's video is all about helping you uncover and call out the lies that you believe about yourself. I'm assuming most of you are familiar with Lord of the Rings. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. That's a good idea. If you have, but it's been a while, here's just a refresher of who is Wormtongue. He's in The Two Towers, which is the second movie, the second set of books. And he secretly works for the evil guy, Sauron. Now, it should be pretty obvious once you see him, like, okay, this is definitely not a good guy. And there's this really striking scene in Two Towers. You can look it up, just search Your Words Are Poison, and you should be able to find it on YouTube. Eowyn's brother has just died, and Wormtongue comes slinking in and is saying, it must be really hard for you to bear his passing. And so it's sort of like words of, I'm trying to, be with you in your grief, but there's definitely this edge to it, that he's trying to drive her apart from everyone else. And she asks, tells him, get out, I want to be alone. And he says, oh, but you are alone. And then just says all of this really nasty stuff. And she's there like really quiet, and it seems like she's believing it. She's just still, she's crying. And then she just turns to him and says, your words are poison, and then runs out, which is the exact correct response to something like that. Now, the king did not do that. The king kept listening to Wormtongue. As other people tried to come in and say, hey, we need to take action, Wormtongue said, don't listen to them. Don't trust them. Wormtongue divided the king against everyone else. And so the king now was no longer going to be in the fight. Because ultimately, there was going to be this giant war. And all of the forces of good had to come together in order to stand a chance against the forces of evil. And so Sauron, the bad guy, wants to get good not even in the fight. And so that's why he was using Wormtongue. There are Wormtongues in your own life. There are lies that you believe about yourself. Some of them are going to be a lot easier to notice. It could be like Eowyn, where you immediately notice it and say your words are poison. But there are others where it's more like the king, where you've been believing it for so long that you're so isolated from it. It takes someone else coming in, because ultimately in the movie and in the books, it takes the good guys, especially Gandalf, to come in and drive out Wormtongue. And then the king is restored and realizes we have to be in this fight. Because ultimately, the Wormtongue is the devil. In Hebrew, the word Satan means the accuser. He's the one who accuses people of bad stuff. He'll first suggest, hey, do this bad thing. Oh, and now you did it. You are a terrible person. So that voice in your head that says that you're not good enough, that you'll never be good enough. Those words are poison. That's the accuser. That's Wormtongue right there. And there are some like more surface level lies, and there's some like really core deep down ones. If you've never thought about this before, you probably don't know the core deep down ones. I know mine is that I'm a burden. And therefore, I have to do these things in order to not be a burden to other people. In one sense, it's actually true that I'm a burden to people, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like, people want to be burdened by me. People who love you are allowing themselves to be burdened. People who like welcome you over to their house, they're wanting to be burdened. But still, despite me intellectually knowing that that is a lie, it's still there. It's very deep. And there are other surface level ones that are easier. So some of them you'll be able to call out right away, and others you'll need good friends to come in. And you might even start to notice that certain people in your life are Wormtongue. Yes, there's that voice in the back of your head that says you're never going to be good enough. That's Wormtongue. Those words are poison. But there are also some people, maybe they're well-intentioned, maybe they're not. An example of well-intentioned would be, I would say most parents, if their son or daughter was considering the priesthood or religious life, would not be supportive. Now, they do care about their son or daughter, but it's kind of a misguided thing, and so the advice they give is like Wormtongue. Other people, maybe they've been hurt, maybe they've been abused in some sort of way, and they're inflicting that on others around them. Maybe intentionally, maybe not. Those words are poison. So think about that and call it out as it is. You can even say, like, when that lie presents itself, you can say your words are poison and just get rid of it. The homily at Mass today, the priest was saying, so there's this heresy in the early church called Pelagianism, which there's this monk named Pelagius who basically was like, Jesus was a good example. We just have to follow his example, but we don't actually need him. We can be good on our own. So it's basically you can earn your way to heaven. The analogy he used, so God is sort of like this preschool teacher, and as long as you have enough gold stars, then you're okay. The church condemned that as not true at all. It's like 3rd or 4th centuries when the Pelagian heresy happened. But that thought can still sneak in. And the example he gave was, if you get discouraged by your failures, you've become a Pelagian. I'm like, what? If you get discouraged by your failures, you're saying to God, I have to earn your love. And I just failed, therefore I don't have your love. That's not true. That's Pelagianism. That's false. Even in your failures, especially in your failures, God still loves you. So if that lie comes in, you can call it out because those words are poison. P.S. Be a hero today.